So this was confusing, and this avoiding things, evading things. Maybe it's not having the money. Maybe it's like certainly it's been. She's not. She didn't. There's often implied with Neptune the dependency and emotional dependency, or confusion around finances, or money's wearing away. What am I going to do? Where are we going to go? And so there's confusion around the finances. Maybe he's spending differently than she's spending, or whatever. But I think this has been going on through 2016, 2017. First year or so, obviously not too bad. She retired. Now it's a difficult take. But it wasn't till I don't remember. I remember. I think she started astrology just at this last wave in 2017, and it's been carrying through studying the astrology. 2018, 2019 should be finished with it by the end of the year. So the Pluto, maybe she's into astrology, maybe he's not. Whoa, okay, but certainly there was some confusion, some interdependency, some enchantment or disenchantment going on, some sorrow or confusion, some evasion that's coming to the surface with Pluto hitting the ascendant. Can't escape it anymore. And what's being escaped? What I want. It's not what I want. It's not what I want. Even though she set it up and maybe everybody was saying, well, this is great, you retired, you have all the time. It's not what I want. So for 2016, 20, it wasn't what she wanted. Or she was living up to certain dreams or looking for an enchantment or fantasy to get away from things. Not having the money, not pulling it in, puts her in a more dependent situation, which doesn't suit her nature. It plays on the weaker sides of her. So this is the reality check that's going on now around, is it working? Is it not working? Maybe I stay at home. Can't say I got to do something. Like, he's not going to be able to satisfy this completely during this. But the good thing, the Neptune's lifted over last year. There's no confusion or deception now. Nobody's running around on anybody. It's a matter of being happy or being fearful or being blocked or being inhibited. Now, okay, on top of this, that's the Neptune. Now we look at Uranus. Uranus, 2015, 2014, just retired. 2015, Uranus squares the ascendant. That's a shakeup of my identity and relationships. Who am I? What am I? I'm not working anymore. What am I doing? There's a restlessness, a nervousness. Then they try to 2016 into 2017, where the restlessness, the insecurity, personal anxiety, and the confusion around finances. What am I going to do? What's worthwhile doing? All of these things were building up quite a degree. She was fairly vulnerable by the end of 2017. Her idea of relationship changed. So she sees herself as I'm still at, where was it? Where did she put in the happily married? Still happily married. Husband moved back to her house 2011. Still happily married today. So she's got someone home. Someone's there. And so it's there, but there's some puzzle here. And then Uranus in 2018 was squaring her sun, and it squares her sun in the next 2 months, and squares her sun December, January, the end of this year, beginning of next. So when Uranus squares your sun, it shakes up your confidence. It's a shock to your confidence and your power. It's like, so this whole point of being retired, this has been not an easy time. It's really a challenging, confronting time. And even still, if she tried to set up her own business right now, it wouldn't be stable. Uranus still squares her sun. It's not finished with it yet. And as soon as Uranus squares her sun, she's going to, then she gets a few years clear, and then Uranus starts squaring her Mercury in 2022, 23. That's a change of thinking. That's her outlook starts changing a little bit more there from what was. But you look back, there's been no breaks. There's been big challenges going on these last 4 years. The next 4 years, this year is still really intense. The Pluto and the Uranus, the confrontation and the shock, and the tendency to and feeling not having confidence. And other people might think, well, that's okay. She's not having confidence. She's calming down, but really, it's not acceptable. It's not how she's got that sun in Leo on the first time. She can't just play on the insecurity time. She's having to make a change. She made a change to retire. It's not staying. It's not staying. Uranus is going to shake that change up and open up something else that comes on. So all three other planets have been very actively in play over these last 4 years and touching personal planets, angles, the sun. This is not, she is not feeling very stable or secure at all. She's certainly challenged and wondering. So she's wondering, will I go back to, where's her questions again? There we go. What do you see as major events in the next number of years? Certainly the next number of years not as difficult as the last 4. That's a good thing. That's a positive thing, but it's still not easy. It's a question of how you build up from here. How do you recharge? So going back to work or bringing another income, I think she would have to, because the not bringing it in while Neptune opposed Venus, she was using things up and it was diminishing her strength. Okay. Health. If there's a health issue, Pluto on the ascendant, on the descendant, can bring confrontations around health. Uranus squaring the sun can bring anxiety complexes. So you have Saturn, Pluto opposing the ascendant. There's a need to do an audit of one's health, to have some checkups. So even now, Pluto's opposing the ascendant. It's worth going and getting some blood tests, some tests done to see what's there. What could you do? What you can't do? Like, there's certainly, Pluto's the auditor. It's on the descendant, going from the 6th house to the 7th house. So the need to fix one's health or do things and make oneself happy is important. And the facing. So usually there's something that comes up with Pluto hitting an angle or Pluto hitting the moon. Like it can be health related. But usually it's the kind of thing, okay, there's this happening. Sometimes you lose some innocence with Pluto. So innocence around relationships. What if he got sick and she suddenly has to take care of him? Or it doesn't have to be just be her, but there's here's where these things are going on. You don't know what to say. We've got a basic idea. We're prepared. We're prepped. So now the worry is when you're going in for the consultation, you have this information. You can't just bum the person out and say all the worst things that are happening. There's challenges going on. You get through these things. Just like when she was a young girl, she got pregnant. She took care of the baby. She took care of things. Her life unfolded. She did good with it. So, but I look at this, I think there's challenges around her. It's not working for her the way she wants, and there's a need to turn her life around. And it may take a health thing. There may be some health things may change. I don't think it's a question of necessarily going back where she was, maybe, but the need to be out of the house and making money and doing things that she's losing confidence with Uranus squaring her sun the way it's playing out now. It's losing. And anytime something comes up, she can't go fix it. And that doesn't settle well for her. That makes her feel guilty and confused. So there's still big changes in the next couple of months, in this next year with Uranus squaring the sun and Pluto on the ascendant. They're not, one is a reality check it's an audit, the other is a shock of being let down or not being secure. Then it lifts for the next couple of years, next number of years is not there at all. Okay, so with the outer planets, you're always being alert to them. They're the ones that cause the bigger challenges and the big things that happen once in a lifetime. They come up, here they are. Now we're looking at the Saturn. We were looking at Saturn generally to itself, to the sun, and to the angles. Now we're taking everything the Saturn did. We look through. She stops working 2015, Saturn squaring her Mars. Well, that's usually a hard working time, in this in her case, it's a not working time. But it was a busy, mostly keep busy doing. Then Saturn squared the Venus, that's not feeling appreciated, feeling tight about love and appreciation and money. So 2016, there was the worry about money, the worry about appreciation, and at the same time, Uranus was squaring the ascendant, shaking up the relationship, and the confusion around self-worth and money, how I should be, what do I want? Kids are growing up, what's next? So it's a big puzzle. And first time I saw her was somewhere in here at the last part of the Neptune cycle, leaving that behind and having to go towards that. And at this point, somewhere in here, she started her studying of astrology, which showed her the interest. But as soon as, even though that happened, Uranus squaring her, so she's not being necessarily supported for it. It's more radical. This could be a confrontation about the astrology. Does she leave it and drop it, or does she go on and go with it? So we have the Saturn, 2017, not something. 2018, the Neptune finished, but Pluto was squaring, opposing the descendant. Uranus started squaring the Sun, and Saturn started squaring the Moon. Squared the Moon and squared the Moon. So Saturn squaring the Moon is usually tired. That can be something that affects the health, but it's usually not a huge critical thing. It's usually like an adjustment in diet or some difficulty around home or family. And there's something you have to work harder to discipline your eating habits a bit more. She's always been used to eating at work. Maybe she's been having to work at having to control her diet and work it at home. Or there's a tendency to be bored at home or under pressure at home. So like usually it's getting discipline onto your daily habits, but it could be feeling frustrated. That could be like these are Saturn. Saturn is really the friend, but it's where you're supposed to be feel inhibited about how you're living, feel inhibited by your health, by your feelings, and Saturn, it's telling you, I have to work at this. I have to be more disciplined. I mean, this could be something simple as you decide to be vegetarian and he doesn't, and you're working on certain. There's so many ways to play. You can't presume. You know something's there with the Saturn. So she has depression and the confrontation, and it's shaking and making her feel insecure. Like I think she retired and she's trying to figure out, what am I doing here? What am I doing? I can't just stay here. I can't just stay here. I got to change this. So she wants to change it. She knows she can't maintain the facade that she had, but the Saturn now is going to, in 2019, is going to oppose her ascendant. It's going to follow Pluto. Saturn and Pluto are going to conjunct on her descendant. So the struggle, what do we do here? Is it just enough to be married and stay home, or is there something else to be done? It's not enough for her to just be sitting back and relax. So like Saturn is the descendant with Pluto through this year. Uranus is shaking up what she was trying to do. She thought she would do it. So this is the breaking up. I can't be retired. I can't just sit back. But 2020, so it's interesting that her astrology classes finished by the end of this year. So this whole time of Pluto on the descendant has been the whole time of studying the astrology. That's powerful. See relationships, understand things clearly, but at the same time, it's coming to a point where it can't keep going the way it has. But in 2020, Saturn opposed her Sun, so she can't move on it right away. She has to bide her time. She doesn't throw it out. She doesn't get lost or whatever. But she's going to have to start trying to build up her skills and add some skills and increase things. So by the time Saturn's finished with the opposition to the Sun, by 2021, she could be setting up in her own. She could be working in her own business anytime, but she's not going to be comfortable about it until she gets to 2021. And once she gets past the last Saturn opposition, she can start to see how it's going to work and how it's building up and how it's changing things. And there's no more of the other complications coming in, which were coming from her negating her own energy or trying to back up and escape and thinking that's what everyone should do when it wasn't what that's in her best interest to do. So then later on, there's a Saturn opposed Mercury, Saturn, Uranus square Mercury. Those are not extreme things. Those are just pressure points of working at something, because it's not to the Sun, to the angles, to Venus, to the Moon. These are stronger factors. This is just changing outlooks of ideas. Saturn and Mercury could be writing a book, could be working on something. It seems we don't have this going forward, but we have a sort of sense of this. Now, what I didn't have is, so we got the Saturn sense of seeing her move, being above the horizon, need to be more involved, put more effort out to be functional and out in the world, to build up a career for herself, to be out involved. We see this, she's not trying to go that way, but she's going to have to go that way. Then we look at this and we see she's been backing off since she retired. But really, I think she retired at the wrong time, but not necessarily. She can't just not be working. She may not want to do what she did before, but she's going to need to build up another career and another work, because Saturn's building up.